Добрый день, меня зовут Николай, я технический директор проекта STeX.
Hello, my name is Nickolay, and I am the CTO of STeX project.
How will the ICO be marketed to a larger audience?
CEO проекта Андрей Макарский курирует это направление.
The CEO of STeX, Andrew Makarski, is in charge of marketing. Unlike pre-sale, where we had zero funds for marketing, now we will use part of the pre-sale funds for ICO marketing on blockchain-related resources and websites. We will also continue our partnership and bounty program. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the amount of funds targeted for marketing of the ICO will not exceed 10% of the total amount of the project's funds. The main funds are dedicated to the development of the project.
Will there be a demo, beta version out before the ICO?
The STeX project is so complex that the prototype is very close to its final release. To produce a demo or a prototype, we need many internal modules to be already in place. We found only one solution in this situation. Some modules will be packed as separate services and released on our website before the ICO. This will give STeX community the ability to trace the development process, at least partially.
Once exchange is open for business, what strategies will you have to bring both coins to site for trading, and the people to come to use the exchange? I see that Binance is offering free tokens, promoting coins for the week, things to bring both coin and customer to the site. Did you have plans to do similar?
We bet on ordinary people and are willing to get blockchain enthusiasts on board, as many as we can. We are constantly improving the project, reflecting advisors and community's feedback, building user-friendly service and interface. First users will be STE token holders, for sure. We will create our own liquidity pool from the funds raised during the ICO. The outstanding amount of the new trading instruments will make marketing easy and effective. We do not have plans for any free tokens or that sort of things. Just the best service, the biggest liquidity pool, and all we have to do when it is ready is to tell each and everybody about all the amazing features and opportunities of the STeX.EXCHANGE. The project has so many unique features and benefits that the marketing idea is easy. All we need to do is to use the marketing budget wisely.
As all earnings will be distributed among token holders, excluding expenses, what will happen if expenses exceed earnings, and no money raised via pre-ICO and ICO is left? And in that regard, will liquidity that is needed to run the exchange be considered as expenses?
Однако это крайне маловероятная ситуация. Одним из конкурентных преимуществ STeX является децентрализация архитектуры, позволяющая нам масштабировать систему в зависимости от нагрузки.
That's a strange question, and the answer is obvious. Should there be no funds left, the project will be bankrupt. However, this is a very unlikely situation. One of the STeX's greatest technological advantages is decentralized architecture of the system, that allows us to scale the project according to the real load. When it comes to the cryptocurrency exchange, if there is any load to speak of, there are commissions to cover the costs of the infrastructure and staff. We use horizontal scaling for each and every aspect of the project, from cloud computing to variable staff quantity. Only the first year of development is critical for the project's survival, but as the pre-sale was hard-capped, we have enough funds to release the project without additional funding, and run it for at least 2 years. Of course, we need additional funds for the liquidity pool, and for legalization, which is extremely costly for such kind of projects. and we are going to collect them during the ICO. In other words, we have enough levers of management to avoid the project's bankruptcy. After the pre-sale was hard-capped, STeX can be stopped only by a direct hit of the nuclear bomb to the development office. And, by the way, after the launch of our decentralized infrastructure, even such an event will not knock down the STeX system. We got the best from blockchain and internet technology, and are building a virtually indestructible system.
How much liquidity will be needed to run the exchange? Minimum and best amount.
Paradoxically enough, there is no minimum volume. Since STeX is more than a mere exchange, and is capable of aggregating liquidity from other exchanges, even without an internal pool of liquidity, STeX will be able to provide enticing trade conditions for the users. Although in this case the potential and the speed of processing transactions will be significantly lower. To create speed, maximum efficiency and minimum spreads, we need an internal pool of liquidity, but even without it, the project can grow, thanks to other unique features. Nor is there a maximum limit. The more funds are available to the market-making robots, the more liquidity there is on the STeX at a single moment, and the higher the project's liquidity. We were aiming at 100,000 to 300,000 of ETH, as the most comfortable volume for the pool of liquidity. We would very much like to see STeX as a core player on the cryptocurrency market, the mere advent of which will lead to an increased volume of transactions. We do not intend to steal the market share from the existing exchanges, and this differentiates the STeX from other exchanges. In case of a successful ICO, we will bring additional liquidity to the market and make it much more attractive for traders, including institutional players, who have been shunning the market, largely due to an insufficient liquidity.
STeX says it will be an exchange aggregator. Can you please explain how that will work? Can't other exchanges simply refuse to work together with STeX? And how much will be earned percentage-wise per transaction when using another exchange?
In fact, STeX intends not only to aggregate liquidity from other exchanges but also supply it to other exchanges. In any case, such activity is beneficial to other exchanges, since we increase the number of operations and, therefore, commissions. Even if a certain exchange does not enter into a partner agreement with us, which is counterintuitive, we can always join it using public API or other interfaces. They even might not be aware that we are working with them. The financial result of such transactions might range from null to quite a positive one, because not all exchanges are balanced by arbitrages and there are enough interesting possibilities for arbitrage on the market.
What are the marketing strategy plans for the main ICO, and how will that be different to pre-ICO marketing?
In a nutshell, for the pre-sale we used social promotion, although this was prompted by our wish to prove to ourselves that we are capable of promoting a large-scale project without attracting a startup capital from venture investors. However, the preliminary agreement had been reached and we had a major investor, who was prepared to provide the funds should anything go amiss. For the ICO we are using, among other things, traditional methods of promotion, but at the same time we are trying to preserve the spirit of public and clever marketing, whereby minimal investments bring maximum benefit for the project.
How do you plan to bring together the community, and grow the STeX community? Will there be a Telegram channel, or Slack, preferably not Slack due to all the scams out of Slack due to the Slackbot bug, or creating a STeX community dashboard?
We are planning to introduce a blockchain voting system for STE holders to ensure the most democratic way of making decisions which are significant for the project. To date, the main channel of communication is Telegram. It might change in future, however, it is a bit premature to speak of that.
There was an exchange that tried doing this, Alcurix. using the APIs from some exchanges and would not collect any fees. But then, BTCE got closed down, and all the funds Alcurx held there were stuck, and users lost money, or are still waiting for BTCE to refund. Will STeX have to also keep funds on exchanges to be able to aggregate trade, or how will funds stay safe from a situation like this?
As it has been mentioned above, the bulk of operations must be carried out inside the STeX.EXCHANGE itself. According to the Financial Security Protocol, the maximum risk per one counterparty shall not exceed 1% of STeX's own funds. In practice, this means that if one exchange disappears or ceases to operate like BTCE, project losses would amount to less than 1% and would have no bearing whatsoever upon average users. In addition, we intend to actively use decentralized exchanges where funds are securely protected by the blockchain technology per se.
In Telegram, there has been talk about a forecasting being done with the Wings Foundation. What is the current status with this?
We hope we will succeed in launching the forecasting of our ICO with the Wings, especially on their new platform to be released in early November. How it pans out, time will show.
The founders have a large percentage of tokens. What guarantee do we have that they will not be dumped? Have they been frozen for a certain time period? Freezing your portion of tokens for 6-9 months will tell the investors how serious you are about the project. Is this something that is already happening, and if not, can you change the smart contract to bring assurance to your investors?
We did not plan to make a separate provision for restricting token sale by the founders, primarily because we, like nobody else, understand the enormous potential of the project, and the thought of selling our own portion of tokens has never crossed our minds. STE were created as having a true intrinsic value and, to all intents and purposes, very few tokens can boast of such standing. However, if, due to some reason, we have to reissue the smart contract, such a provision might be added if this indeed brings increased assurance to STE holders.
How do you estimate the ratio of the token holder users versus outsider users? As per, we token holders will not pay fees after trade volume less than 100 times of our token value. This means after a huge volume of trade there will be no income for STeX.EXCHANGE.
In the new version of the white paper, the rule of free trades will be finalized. At the moment, Ivan, our CFO, is on the verge of finishing his calculations. In simplistic terms, the volume of free trades must not exceed 50% of the overall trades on the exchange. The current wording of the rule elicited much criticism, and we decided to modify this rule in order to simplify the operation of the system, to make it more versatile and to avoid concern on the part of the users with regard to the application of this rule. The problem with the original wording of this rule actually arose only among passive STE holders, and this only in case the STE price should rise multifold, for example 10 times. In fact, even in the current version, the system is totally balanced in equilibrium, because the situation when commissions completely disappear is only possible at a sufficiently high STE price. At such STE price and with the absence of commission distribution, STE holders will inevitably start selling STE, which will decrease the current market price, and result in commissions, to exclude which the active users will have to acquire STE, which, in its turn, will push the price upwards. Thus, the passive users will have the choice of commission payoffs or a possibility to sell their STE at a high price. However, we realize that such a system is quite complex and cannot be easily grasped by the majority of STE holders, and, therefore, a decision has been made to revise it. In its place, we will have special orders which will allow to put bids with the guaranteed absence of commissions, but could only be executed with the paid offsetting order. Thus, the volume of free trades will never exceed 50% of the amount of all trades on the stacks.
There is the Ether account B53, who currently holds 1,382,091 STE, and was able to transfer STE, while it should not be possible until the end of the ICO. The aforementioned account transferred 1,125,000 STE, to account 184, the current balance of this account. What are these accounts?
The first account represents the project's special bounty account, from which payments are made as part of the bounty program for those partners who chose upon registration the option of payments in STE. All our bloggers, translators, streamers will receive bounty remuneration from this account. The second account is the account belonging to the project's advisor, who rendered inestimable assistance at an early stage, and had been overseeing the project during the entire pre-sale stage. Thanks largely to him, we reached the hard cap during the pre-sale. I would like to emphasize that in spite of huge efforts being invested, such partners will be able to receive their remuneration not earlier than the project starts generating commissions. However, we obviously cannot guarantee the absence of a possibility to sell such tokens immediately after the opening of the trade, unless the code of the smart contract is renewed prior to the ICO. Nevertheless, it is an extremely important and controversial step, therefore, we can only undertake it after the voting among STE holders has been conducted. Perhaps, it should indeed be done, but we would like it to be a weighted decision on the part of the STeX community.